Hello YouTube, this is your host, Vyvex, and today I'm going to be starting a new segment on my channel, and I'm going to call it Tournament Logs. And this is going to be a series based on the tournaments I go to whenever I go to. Typically they're on weekends, and that means that they should be posted the same weekend of the tournament, if nothing goes wrong, like internet connection. And so basically what these are going to be about is I'm going to show you what decks I play, how they do, what went wrong, and like how I played them and what I played. Alright? And that pretty much sums up what these videos are going to be about. Just this section, don't worry. I'm still going to do other stuff too. And I think I'll just move on into this one. Alright, so this tournament I played Piper Countdown, and at the end I'll go over the cards in the deck that might need some explaining, and I'll go over my rounds at the end too. So first we'll just jump into the deck profile for those who just want the profile. 2 Mystic Piper, run 3, I didn't have them, and so this tournament this deck was actually incomplete, but run 3 makes the deck so much more consistent. Yeah. 2 Kinkaboyo, this is the main and best draw engine of the entire deck, especially with 3 Piper. 3 Battle Fader, it's a good stall card, it's level 1 so you can draw an extra 1 for Piper. I'll explain why I'm not happy with Battle Fader anymore, it's because of the tournament. I'll explain that at the end. 3 Swift Scarecrow, much better than Battle Fader in all accounts, it's also level 1. 3 Zero Gardener, level 4 stalls. That's pretty much what it does. 1 Spear Reaper. I love Spear Reaper in this deck, and I'll actually explain why in a minute too. 3 Upstart Goblins. I believe I took the previous video of this deck down, and so I'll explain why Upstart Goblin is kind of important to this deck. 3 One Day of Peace. Love it. Both players draw 1 and then no damage for either player until the end of your opponent's next turn. 2 Final Countdown. This is what wins games in this deck. I don't like 3. It's too many, gets cloggy. 1's not enough. 2's perfect. 2 Golden Sarks. Searches out for a countdown mainly, but if you already get it, then it searches out for the too few Pipers. 1 Heavy Storm. Loving this deck. I'll explain why at the end. 3 Thunder Ruler, first of the stall cards. 3 Frozen Soul, this is the hardest stall card to play, I'll explain it at the end as well. 3 Threatening Roar, and 3 Wabaku, that's it for the stall cards. And then my second favorite draw engine is the 3 Reckless Greed. Alright, now time to explain. The Reckless Greed, I love it in this deck because 1, they don't stack on top of each other, and so like if you activate all 3 in the same turn, it's not 6 turns, it's still 2. Plus you can even get, even if you only have 1, as long as you have the Piper engine already in there, you can just get around the no drawing thing every turn. And so it's as long as you're running the Piper draw engine, this card is just good all the time. I'll start with the monsters I was going to explain. Spear Reaper. This card, I actually love it against all decks because they have to minus so much except for Inzektors. So I guess I lied because Inzektors can just pop this like nothing. But against pretty much every other deck, I love this card because your opponent has to minus so much just to get it away. The 3 Frozen Soul, that is the hardest stall card to use because it's conditioned that your opponent has to have 2,000 more life points than you do to activate it. And so basically I get around that by the 2 countdowns, you minus 2,000 when you activate it. So you're only going to be activating 1, and so already you're 2,000 less than your opponent. Right? But if they use warning or anything, that will suck for you because now that's dead. That's why the 3 Upstart Goblins are actually really great because not only do you draw a card, but your opponent gains 1,000. Since you're not worrying about life points, this card is just great because it allows you to play Frozen Soul, because your opponent is gaining life points that they would have lost. And then Heavy Storm. No one expected Heavy Storm in this deck when I played it, and I loved it. People would just set all of their back row without fear that I would run Heavy Storm. And so when I dropped it, it made people very angry. I actually had one guy swear for like 5 minutes because of it. And then I can't explain why I don't like Battle Fader anymore in this deck without going over my matchups. So I'll explain him at the end. My matchups were pretty simple, but it was a tournament of like 20 people. I topped second, losing to Inzektors in the finals, and also third round. And so now I'll go over in order. First round, I played Inzektors. I 2-0'd Inzektors first round. Second round, I played Chaos Dragon, and I 2-0'd Chaos Dragon. That's where the Spirit Reaper came in handy. They could swarm all they wanted. They could not get around my Spirit Reaper. They finally managed to, like, last turn of Final Countdown, and then I already had, like, 6 stall cards in hand because, like, there was nothing I really needed to do other than keep Spirit Reaper on the field. I was just letting Countdown sit there. Third round, I played different guys in Inzektors, and I lost. He had 2 wins against my 1 win. And I'll explain how he won because that also comes up in the final matchup too. Round 4, I played what? I played Macro, and I 2-0'd Macro. Then 5th round was finals. We didn't do a top 4. It was just top 2. So I played the same Inzektors that I 2-0'd first round, but what made me lose against the Inzektors from first round and third round was they were able to warning my Battle Fader. They warning the summon of it, and so I did not get its effect. It never hit the field, and I had no other way to keep them from attacking for a game. And so that's what got them win. And also in the final round, it was a pretty heated round, the final round. We managed to get into game 3 with this deck, which is highly uncommon. I guess it was just something with Inzektors, I guess. But all 3 games of the final round, I did not get Final Countdown until mid-game. And so that hurt me a lot, especially game 3. But that is why I do not like Battle Fader anymore. I just have something against it. It's still a great card for this deck, I guess. I guess I'll promote it from good to great, I guess, because it's not very often that it gets warninged. You just have to learn from this and be prepared if they warning it. The side deck, is pretty simple. I'm not going to pull it out because like it's pretty interchangeable. But the things I would put in there are 3 Power Duality for like macros and stuff. You're not going to play the Kinkaboyos or Piper because they're macro. They'll remove from play the Piper, and then Kinkaboyo is useless. 2 Lava Golem, just because you need to side out some other stuff. I side in only 1 MST. Funny enough, only 1 MST. I actually, if I wanted to play like for the lulz, I guess, I had 2 creature swaps and then 3 like Yatsa, Gara, something. It's basically a Jar of Greed, but if your opponent controls a spirit monster, you draw 2 instead. So basically you would creature swap your Kinkaboyo to your opponent and then use that card, draw 2, and face Kinkaboyo returns to your hand. So that's pretty fun. You get its effect, you give it to your opponent, and then you draw 2 and it returns to your hand. So that's really fun. But this tournament actually went, I think, really well. And the only things that really hurt were the solemning of the Battle Faders. because they actually use their solemn judgments on other things. It's the faders that got warninged, and sometimes the Zero Gardener. For people looking to beat this deck, I will give away how to beat it. Macro does hurt it. I will freely admit that. But it can be avoided. The card that absolutely kills this deck, there are two. So the cards that kill this deck are, one, obviously Royal Decree, or Jinzo, I guess. Because they take away all my traps, and so all I'm left with to stall is the One Day of Peace and whatever monster cards I have. And so if like Macro uses Royal Decree, so they'd still have Dimensional Fissure, they'd still be able to remove my monsters, and so I couldn't do anything about that, and then I have no traps. And the last card that kills me is Chain Disappearance. If you're playing against this deck, definitely run 3 Chain Disappearance against it, because all of my monsters, all of them, are less than 1,000 attack. Most of them are even 0. And so if I'm summoning a monster in any way, then you can activate Chain Disappearance, and all the rest of them, including that card, are removed from play. So all of that copy of the card are gone. Mystic Piper, Kinkaboyo, Zero Gardener, Battle Fader, they're all gone. And so I'll just end this video now. Tell me how you like this new segment, and I will bring you more material. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. We always want to hear what you guys want to see on this channel. So, without further ado, until next.